Are you guys seeing what the front office is doing, or are you asleep at the wheel? Things just got real in Vegas, and this rebuild has turned into a controlled demolition. The Pete Carroll era was a historic 3-14 embarrassment that we need to scrub from our memories. But now, with Klint Kubiak at the helm, the massive house cleaning has begun. Geno Smith has already been shipped out. Yeah, we sent him packing, and the pressure cooker is whistling. I've got 3 vital questions for you today. Kirk Cousins rocking the silver and black to babysit a rookie? Did our GM finally wake up to the tragedy that is our offensive line, or is he playing games with the fan base? And what on earth is going on behind the scenes around the league that has even a Super Bowl winning head coach bowing down to our guy? Buckle up and hit that like button, because what I'm about to tell you changes everything for the Raiders. Explosive fact right out of the gate. Geno Smith was traded to the Jets, Raider Nation. We sent him in a 2026 7th-round pick to New York in exchange for a measly 6th-rounder. That's the bitter toll you pay to clean house. So what now? We look at the current roster and who's left in the QB room. Just Aiden O'Connell. The entire NFL is already dead set that, with the coveted #1 overall pick in the draft, we're bringing in Fernando Mendoza. The kid won the Heisman. He is the absolute future of this franchise, and there's no making excuses for any other option. But throwing the kid to the Wolves in Week 1, that's pure insanity. And that's exactly where this colossal rumor shaking up Vegas comes in. Kirk Cousins. Bleacher Report just hammered home that we need to sign the 37-year-old veteran to be the ultimate bridge quarterback. My immediate reaction? The salary cap math makes total sense. His market value plummeted after getting cut from a massive contract with the Falcons, where his numbers didn't impress anyone last year. Spytek projects a 1-year deal will cost a modest $10 million. For Las Vegas's wallet right now, that's pocket change. The impact on the roster is immediate and brutal. You bring in a guy with 167 career starts and nearly 45,000 yards under his belt to be Mendoza's human shield. Cousins absorbs the unforgiving media pressure, teaches the kid how to process complex NFL defenses, and then, around October, when the rookie is flying high in Kubiak's scheme, we make the transition the smart way. Here's my raw opinion. I don't want Cousins to be our savior. He's far from it. But we can't repeat the amateur mistakes of the past regime and ruin the psyche of a generational talent in his very first month. Paying $10 million for Cousins to hold down the fort while Mendoza masters our playbook is the pragmatic move that elite teams make. It's absurd to think O'Connell would navigate that process unscathed. We desperately need a battle-tested mentor. The front office isn't looking for a Band-Aid. They want to build a sustainable dynasty, and putting a raw rookie in the Week 1 crossfire is just signing a certificate of incompetence. If you thought the shock value stopped there, hold on to your hats, because our offensive line is still a black hole of uncertainty, and GM John Spytek decided to put his cards on the table at the league meetings. The front office swore we aren't going to have one of the worst fronts in the NFL again. The colossal addition of Tyler Linderbaum was an oasis, and we'll have the essential returns of Colton Miller, DJ Glaze, and Jackson Powers Johnson. The trench warfare for the guard spot is going to be a bloodbath between Caleb Rogers and Spencer Burford. But what about the tackles? Our roster depth there borders on a joke. If a starter sneezes and goes down, our entire offense sinks with him. The controversy that set the back rooms on fire came from Spytek's cold, calculating statement. He gave it to us straight, no chaser. There are no good tackles just hanging around in free agency. You don't find an elite left tackle collecting dust on the open market ready to sign a cheap deal. You're kidding yourself if you dream of that. The GM was surgical when he stated that the only formula that works today is to draft, develop the raw talent, and then re-sign them. The critical problem is that he said he feels comfortable with the 3 guys we already have in the building for the position. Comfortable? The word comfort and our current offensive line in the same sentence is an absolute absurdity that gives me night sweats. But read between the lines, Raider Nation. We have 10 precious draft picks. Spytek is playing some heavy mind games with the media. He knows the sheer magnitude of the pressure, but instead of panicking and burning a fortune on some free agent bust, he's pushing all his chips into the college draft. He pounded his chest talking about the confidence he's gained in this first year, about waking up ready for the phone to ring with the chaos of the league. That screams to me that the front office is orchestrating an aggressive strike come draft day. They are going headhunting for elite protection for Mendoza. Kubiak and his coaching staff are going to have a moral obligation to turn these rookies into literal brick walls, because the success of the next decade relies entirely on who protects our quarterback's blind side. There is no magical plan B. Spytek is building this franchise from the inside out. Now let's look at our future radar. Tune in to what's leaking from the guts of the owners' meetings in Arizona, because some fans are letting pure gold slip by. The entire sports media is drooling over the monumental rebuild Kubiak is orchestrating. And you want to know how you prove a winning culture is finally back? When the patience runs dry and the team cuts bait with big-name players who aren't producing. Our kicker Daniel Carlson and long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer got the boot. Carlson is a great guy, he had his peak here, but his 2025 season was indefensible. In a predatory league, you simply cannot choke your salary cap with a specialist who folds in the clutch. The hammer came down on special teams. The front office is already holding quiet workouts with Ben Mann out of Boston College and kicker Luke Drzewecki over at New Mexico. It's zero tolerance for stagnation. The house cleaning has reached the special teams unit, and it proves that a fancy nameplate doesn't guarantee a roster spot. But what really made me jump out of my seat was the external impact. Two-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski was raving with fiery praise for Kubiak and our coordinator Andrew Janocko. The guy made it crystal clear the level of reverence these two command. And the cherry on top? Mike McDonald, who just hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, handed us the magnetic secret of our head coach on a silver platter. He is genuine. In a plastic, ego-driven universe like the NFL, Kubiak isn't two-faced. That perfectly explains why the locker room has fanatically embraced his vision after last year's circus. We went from being the laughingstock to a masterclass in a coaching transition. Finally, a stealthy update on the Christian Wilkins saga. Spytek threw some cold water on it, saying the league still hasn't handed down an official verdict on our salary cap relief. But the well-connected sharks in the hallways guarantee that the answer drops before the draft, and that the Raiders will, in fact, get some financial breathing room. If that free cash hits our books, my friends, Spytek is going to have a war chest to finish putting this puzzle together. Respect and fear are reigning in Las Vegas once again. To wrap up this roller coaster real quick, Geno Smith is already yesterday's news. We're sniffing around veteran Kirk Cousins to be a luxury tutor for Mendoza. Spytek made it glaringly obvious that our blockers are going to come from draft day sweat, and the entire league is already shaking from the brutal culture shock Kubiak has imposed from top to bottom in this franchise. Now, the golden question for the true diehards of Raider Nation. Considering our salary cap, would you rather spend $10 million on Kirk Cousins so he can be our safety bridge? Or do you think that's absurd and would rather throw rookie Fernando Mendoza straight into the Week 1 meat grinder, no matter the cost? Drop down into the comments right now and let it rip, because this debate is going to catch fire, and I'm going to be reading and arguing with everyone.